G'day guys, well we're in the garage doing some upgrades to the Jeep and you guessed it, we're installing some rock lights. Now these are the Surface 6 RGB rock lights from Stedi. Now basically they're a 6-light kit, so let's take a look at what you actually get in the box. First up, user manual. So it gives you some basic rock light installation and sort of instructions on how to sort of mount the actual lights. Tells you to run through a bit of Bluetooth control and then obviously the lighting features. So yeah, we'll put that to the side. Here are the 6 lights you get. So these are basically all independently wired. They're like a hard sort of bodied sort of plastic, and then you've got like a film that you sort of take off once you do the install. So you've got obviously 6 of them. So we'll move them out of the way. And here's all the wiring. So as you can see, there's all different lengths. So you've got some 5-meter ones and some 3.5-meter ones. So in total you've got 1, 2, so 2 of them are 5 meters and 4 are 3.5 meters. Then you've got some, these are your mounting blocks. So these are like a rubber mounting block by the looks, yep, so they're a rubber mounting block, and then they come with a fixing hardware. Wow, look at the length of those screws. I don't know what they're going to be thinking you're going to be fixing them into. They're pretty long. So it comes with a bolt, looks like M6 or M5 with a nylon lock nut, and then you've got some self tappers as well as an option, but they're really long. So anyway, you've obviously got 6 of them. And then you've got your main wiring harness. So this is the wiring harness, positive, negative, hook up to your battery. And then as you can see on there, these are just all sort of plug and play. And they're sort of like a keyed sort of fitting with a waterproof sort of connection. And that would be your Bluetooth control. All right, so what I also did get, which isn't part of the kit, is these angled mounts. So these are the standard ones that are nice and sort of flat and they're like a rubber sort of finish. These are the angled ones. Now, I can't remember what they cost, but I'll put the price down below. But what that does is allows you to mount the light on an angle. So the first part of the install is actually determining where you're going to put your lights. Now, obviously, if you've got a bigger vehicle than the Jeep, you sort of need to factor in the length of the cable. But having the 3.5-meter runs for the front and 5-meter runs for the back, we should be fine. Now, at the front here, our first light is going to go somewhere, in this front section area here. Well, what we'll do is once we get the light and we go to install it, we'll find a nice suitable spot. And the second light will be behind the front tyre here, so somewhere up around the body here. And basically what we want to do is give this front area as much light as we possibly can, because ultimately, well, that's what rock lights are for. They're to light up the path, so it allows your sort of spotter to sort of, for better wheel placement. Yeah, third light, we're going to be putting in front of the rear tyre here. Again, it's all for wheel placement. Look, if you had an 8 light, so it had an 8-light kit, you'd put one sort of behind because that would allow you to sort of better spot in reverse. But anyway, that's what we've got, so that's what we'll be working with. So one thing I just wanted to sort of point out is that the actual rubber mount actually has a split in it. Now, the reason why it has a split in it, that's to accommodate for the cable. So when you actually mount the actual light to the actual rubber mount, it sits in there nice and sort of flush, and then you can actually either run the actual cable off to the side, or you could actually drill a hole in your, whatever you're mounting it to feed the cable through. So, good job. So once you've determined where you're going to put your lights, next thing to do is obviously then install them. So what I'll be doing, go around and install all the rock lights first, and then I'll be worrying about the wiring later. All right, so now we have all the rock lights all installed. I'll show you where I've put them. So here's the front one here. So this is on sort of just tucked on the bumper. There's plenty of clearance here, which is fine. The second one, so behind the front wheel, so you can see it's nice tucked up under here, so well protected by the slider. And then the last one up underneath here, so just before the back wheel here. So just up here nicely. So that's obviously going to then shine that light back towards that wheel. So overall, really impressed. So now what we need to do now is just start running the wires up to the engine bay and then zip tie them up. So we finished running the wires for the lights up towards the battery. It's all zip tied into position, so it's all nice and secure. Now, one thing you'll notice is that these wires are like super long, so as you can sort of see. But what we'll do is we'll end up sort of bundling these up and zip tying them, and then sort of tucking them down a little crevice to sort of make it all sort of neat. And then what we need to do now is then we need to run this piece of wiring. So this is where they sort of all connect into. They're sort of like a waterproof sort of connector, and there's like a little keyway on them, and then you just sort of screw them together. So we'll connect all them up, and then you've got your positive and negative for your battery, so they can just go into the terminals, or your earth or your negative can just go on an earth point. It is fused, so it does have I think it's a 10 amp fuse. No, it's a 5 amp fuse. So look, they're absolutely bugger all current draw. And then the other thing we need to do is just run the switch up. So this is the switch that they sort of supply. It's just it's a 20mm hole that you sort of got to drill. It's just simple on and off. So that's what we're going to be doing now. So when you're putting these together, on the male side, there's a little arrow, and on the female side, there's a little arrow. And basically just line those two arrows up together, push them in, and then screw that little connector on. Alright, so battery is all connected up. We've got our positive onto the positive terminal of the battery, and then we've got our negative onto this earth point on the chassis rail here. Now the wires all sort of come down here. They're sort of tucked just down here. Look, I'm not real happy with, I suppose, the length of wires, and it would be nice if Stedi were able to, supply a kit where you could sort of terminate your own ends and shorten the cables and all that sort of thing. But anyway, it is what it is. But yeah, so it's all wired up. It's all nicely sort of zip tied all the way along there. And then we've got our switch into the cabin. So now it's just time to test them out. All right, so we're ready to go. Power's all hooked up. What we need to do now is turn on the switch here. So we've got a red light on the actual switch. And then what I also have done is I've downloaded the Stedi app. Now, what the app is it Bluetooth connects to the actual module itself, and then you can have your full control of your lighting. So basically you can choose any color you like, you can choose the brightness, you can even have it flashing, you can even have it play to music if you really want to. So look, I'm probably not going to get that in depth with it. I mainly want it for that sort of rock crawling and probably a little bit of mood lighting at a camp. So what we'll do is we'll put the roller door down, and we'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so look at that. I am pretty impressed. That's a decent amount of light that's sort of putting out. Now what we'll do is we'll have a bit of a play with the rainbow colours. So you can see it'll change the rainbow, and you can speed it up and slow it down. And you can see it going through all the different sort of colours. Yeah, so pretty cool. You can get it to go to the beat of the music, and you can also there's a couple of favourites. So you can do a pulsating rainbow, which that's this one here. And then we've got pulsating red, so it can do all sorts of different stuff. Pulsating green, and then you can go down to pulsating blue and green. So it'll flick between blue and green. Green does that, it looks pretty cool actually. There we go, between blue. Rainbow strobe, oh god, a bit of disco. Red strobe, and then there you get all the strobes, so you can speed up and slow down depending on how quick you want it. Anyway, the real test will be at night. Alright guys, well we're back from the night drive, and look, overall I'm actually pretty impressed with the Stedi rock lights. Now, would I buy them again? Yeah, I think I would. With one exception, I think I'd like to have like an 8 light kit instead. So I'm not sure if they actually manufacture one as an 8 light kit, but I'll be definitely checking that out to see if I can get an additional 2. Anyway, things that I don't like about the kit are the length of the wires. Look, the length of the wires, there's a lot of loose wire that I've sort of had to bundle up underneath the bonnet. And I think if Stedi could come up with a different sort of way of terminating those wires to that main hub, I think that'd be fantastic, because that would just finish off and can complete the custom sort of install with the wiring. Now, the amount of colours that you can have underneath your car are pretty well endless, so you can pick and choose your colour. For me, I'm probably just going to stay with the yellows and the oranges. I think that just gives you a nice sort of ambient light underneath and is not too sort of distracting, and it gives enough light for your spotter to obviously see where your wheel placement is. Now, what I'll do is I'll leave all the links in the description below where you can get your own. This kit sells for about 199 bucks, and that's delivered to your door, so which I don't think is too bad value considering what else is out there on the market. And obviously, you know, controlling it by the app on your phone, all the colors and, you know, sequences and all that sort of thing. One thing you can do, and I didn't actually test, was the actual, you can, you know, get it to flash to the beat of the music. Look, probably not my cup of tea, but if you're into sort of auto salon or you know, a bit of doof, yeah, check that feature out. Now, I'm not endorsed or sponsored by Stedi, so these opinions are all of my own. And if you've got any questions or comments, drop them down below. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. It really helps the channel out, because we're going to be bringing you more content sort of like this, as well as some campsite reviews that are coming up. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you around. Cheers.